You have 3 fully developed product concepts sitting on your desk, but enough capital to build only one company. Your options are DryGuard, a smart shoe rack, AquaGuard AI, an emergency water filtration cap, and PreBuild AI, a pre-construction coordination platform. If you evaluate them strictly on their physical features, you hit a wall. There is no logical way to directly compare living room furniture, outdoor survival gear, and enterprise software. This diagram illustrates the necessary shift in perspective. To choose a winner, we have to look past the product blueprints and examine the underlying business model canvas. Investors prioritize the economic engine behind the design. We are going to strip away the marketing layer and evaluate the specific revenue mechanics and execution risks required to make each of these paths profitable. The path you select determines whether you need to manage a physical manufacturing supply chain, hire a fleet of software engineers, or secure high-level institutional contracts. Let's start with DryGuard, the archetype for a business-to-consumer hardware model. The market appeal is broad, covering families in tropical climates, active athletes and sports players, and renters dealing with high humidity. This cross-section shows how it actively manages humidity and neutralizes odor using an internal drying chamber. Delivering this requires a physical supply chain, sourcing humidity sensors, control modules, and circulation fans, then integrating them with a furniture manufacturer. The economic friction comes from the revenue structure. You rely on single, one-off consumer purchases. Once someone buys a rack, they won't buy another. Because the lifetime value of a single customer is capped at that initial sale, the business must continuously spend money on digital marketing and retail distribution just to acquire new customers. This model is the easiest for early-stage founders to prototype and validate, but scaling it requires a heavy and constant investment in consumer marketing. AquaGuard takes a different path. It operates as a consumable product tailored for government agencies and NGOs. Instead of everyday households, your end users are disaster relief teams, flood victims, and backcountry hikers facing clean water shortages. This exploded view reveals the complex multi-stage hardware required. Each unit uses a precise stack of microfiltration membranes and activated carbon layers to remove contaminants. This creates a razor and blades revenue structure. While the base cap is a simple purchase, the filters degrade and require periodic replacement, creating a continuous, compounding loop of revenue from a single user. Earning that recurring income requires surviving massive upfront barriers, such as intensive laboratory testing, safety certifications, and navigating slow government procurement cycles. The app interface highlights a critical liability boundary. To manage risk, the pitch must emphasize that the AI provides decision support and water condition monitoring, rather than a total guarantee of safety. While the barrier to entry and liability risks are much higher, the reward is a defensible business with predictable income and a powerful social impact narrative. Finally, we evaluate PreBuild AI, which represents the business-to-business software-as-a-service model. In large-scale construction, a single undetected design error triggers a chain reaction of delays, rework, and massive cost overruns. PreBuild AI solves this by identifying structural clashes, like a pipe intersecting a beam, before physical construction begins. The project readiness metrics at the top provide the core evidence for the enterprise pitch. The software pays for itself by preventing real-world costs. Executing this requires heavy upfront capital for cloud infrastructure, AI model training, and hiring specialized software developers who understand architectural data. This illustrates the massive scalability of software. Once the code is written, adding a new enterprise client costs the company almost nothing in terms of physical materials or distribution. B2B SaaS carries the highest technical barrier and complex sales cycles, but it offers the highest profit margins and exponential scaling potential for venture capital. So out of these 3, which represents the strongest business model? This quadrant chart plots the answer by comparing the execution complexity we've discussed against the potential for revenue scalability. Teams with hardware design skills who need immediate market validation land in the bottom left. It's a lower complexity path, but the growth is typically linear. Those focused on securing institutional grants and building a recurring revenue base land in the middle of the chart, balancing high complexity with predictable growth. Deep tech teams chasing high-margin venture capital land in the top right, accepting high execution complexity for the sake of exponential scale. When pitching an innovation, the physical product only gets you through the door. It's the viability of your business model that actually secures the funding.